I have been getting hammered with DMs and comments all week, asking if Olu Oluwatimi is actually on the trading block before training camp starts. The reality is that reports suggest the Seahawks might look to move on from their former starting center sooner rather than later. It is a bold move that signals our front office prioritizes immediate roster flexibility over depth in this championship window. This situation has two distinct layers to unpack, starting with the trade feasibility and ending with the long-term roster strategy. We are going to break it all down right now. Please hit subscribe to help us reach our first 1,000 followers and drop a comment with your name and city so I know who is watching. Let us dive in. We are a brand new channel pushing toward our first 1,000 subscribers, and every single person who joins this community helps us keep going. We are officially one day away from the start of training camp, and while the focus typically shifts to the gridiron, we must discuss the future of center Olu Oluwatimi. Over the past 3 seasons, Oluwatimi has been a familiar face on our roster, even starting for half of the 2024 campaign. Despite providing reliable depth, recent analysis from Brady Henderson of ESPN suggests that Oluwatimi might not make the final cut this year, pointing to a potential trade as his most likely exit. Think about it this way. If we are entering a title defense season, every roster spot becomes precious capital. For Oluwatimi, who is currently in the final year of his rookie contract, being relegated to a backup role behind Jalen Sundell, does little to help his professional growth or his upcoming free agency prospects. Many fans feel a sense of unease regarding this news because losing a proven interior lineman for little return feels like a missed opportunity to bolster our depth in other critical areas. We have become accustomed to his presence in the huddle, and seeing him moved on the eve of camp brings a cold dose of reality to the business side of the league. If the Seahawks truly believe they can secure a future draft pick for him, they must find a willing partner among teams like the Panthers, Vikings, or Commanders who are still searching for stability in the middle of their lines. However, the real tension here remains internal rather than external. If we do part ways with Oluwatimi, who exactly possesses the technical skill set required to step in at center should an injury occur? We need to look deeper at our current training camp roster to determine if anyone else has the capability to handle those snaps safely. The most compelling reason to trade Olu Oluwatimi right now is that the Seahawks are no longer a developmental project, but a reigning Super Bowl champion, looking to maximize every single roster spot. We reached this crossroads because Oluwatimi, who started half of the 2024 season, finds himself squeezed out by the emergence of Jalen Sundell. His rookie contract expires after this year, meaning he is entering a make-or-break period where sitting on the bench provides zero value for his future earnings or our team depth. Historically, our front office has shown they are not afraid to move on from players who do not fit the immediate championship window, preferring to acquire draft capital that keeps the pipeline full of affordable talent. Behind closed doors, leadership is likely calculating exactly how much they can recoup for a reliable center in a league where offensive line health is notoriously volatile. And that changes everything regarding how we view the backup rotation behind Sundell. While we once valued continuity, the shift toward a win-now mentality means the potential for a 2027 or 2028 draft pick now outweighs the security of a backup who might not be here next year anyway. Teams like the Panthers, Lions, Vikings, Titans, or Commanders could easily view a player with his starting experience as a significant upgrade to their current, less stable middle. If we wait for a mid-season injury to force someone's hand before the November 10th deadline, we might secure even more value than a low-round pick today. It is a calculated risk that reflects how far this franchise has come since the dark days of long rebuilds. We are now in the business of maintaining a title defense, and every asset, including those on the bench, must serve that singular, ambitious goal. With the news out of the way, it is time to pivot toward what this development really signifies for our organization as we prepare for training camp. What nobody is talking about is the quiet tension brewing regarding our interior offensive line depth, which carries significant weight for our immediate championship aspirations. The stakes are clear because this team is built to win right now, meaning every single roster spot must be occupied by a player capable of contributing when the lights shine brightest. If we move Olu Oluwatimi, we lose an experienced insurance policy, but we gain the flexibility to potentially acquire draft assets that could strengthen our long-term foundation. This roster shift would force us to rely on unproven commodities at the center position, which creates a level of uncertainty we have not had to worry about throughout the last year. When we look ahead to tough matchups against division rivals or heavy hitters in the conference, having a dependable anchor in the middle of that line is critical for the success of our passing game and run protection. By potentially parting ways with a player who is currently the odd man out on the depth chart, we are essentially wagering that our current coaching staff can develop a reliable backup from our existing training camp candidates. If that bet does not pay off, we could be left vulnerable during a grueling stretch of the season where even one injury could disrupt our momentum. Ultimately, managing this asset correctly will be the difference between maintaining our status as a league powerhouse and dealing with unnecessary setbacks as the schedule intensifies. Our front office has a difficult decision to make, but balancing our current championship window against the reality of roster turnover is exactly how successful teams remain consistent contenders in this league for many years. The logic behind trading Olu Oluwatimi is rooted in the simple arithmetic of asset management. Because he is entering the final year of his rookie contract, he currently represents a diminishing return for our roster. By moving him now, we could secure a future draft pick that provides 4 years of team control, which is far more valuable than a few months of backup service from a player who likely will not be in Seattle by next season. And here's why that's a big deal. Maximizing our current championship window requires us to be cold-blooded about resources that do not contribute to our primary goal of winning it all. The counter-argument is just as compelling because depth at the center position is the ultimate insurance policy. If Jalen Sundell were to go down, having a proven professional like Oluwatimi ready to step in is a luxury that could save our entire season. Brady Henderson of ESPN highlights this exact tension in his latest training camp preview, pointing to the possibility of moving on from both Oluwatimi and Christian Haynes to finalize the offensive line room. Other teams like the Panthers, Lions, Vikings, Titans, or Commanders might be desperate enough to pull the trigger on a deal. Here is where I land on this. While the idea of trading depth during a title defense sounds smart on paper, I believe it is actually overblown. A reliable backup center is worth more to a team with legitimate championship aspirations than a late-round draft selection that may never even make the final roster. I suspect we should hold on to him at least until the November 10th trade deadline. Injuries are an unfortunate reality of this game, and I would rather have the stability of a known commodity than gamble on the unknown potential of a future pick. When you weigh the current roster construction against the long-term aspirations of this organization, a clear vision of our championship window begins to take shape. This franchise is firmly committed to maximizing our immediate potential, meaning every decision, including the potential departure of Olu Oluwatimi, must serve our quest for a title. Moving him now for draft capital represents a calculated shift towards sustained flexibility, ensuring we do not let a valuable asset simply walk away for nothing next offseason. And I cannot stress this enough, the confidence displayed by the front office in Jalen Sundell suggests they believe this transition will not diminish our interior production. You should feel encouraged by this aggressive approach because it demonstrates that our leadership is prioritizing winning over sentimentality. Holding on to a backup just for the sake of comfort is a luxury a contender can rarely afford. And if we can secure future assets while maintaining a baseline of competence, we are winning the roster management game. It is a mature, disciplined way to build a legacy that lasts well beyond one successful campaign. With training camp set to ignite, we must decide if we prefer the security of depth or the promise of future growth. If the coaching staff determines that the current backup options like Bo Stevens or others cannot hold the fort, would you rather keep Oluwatimi for the entire season as an insurance policy or flip him now for a mid-round draft pick? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. We are still pushing toward our first 1,000 subscribers, and every one of you helps us get there. Go Hawks! I'll see you in the next one.